And we're back. Thank you so much for your patience. And this is part 2. Okay, part 2, we're just talking about getting honest with yourself in terms of heartbreak and, what hurts and harms have come to you. Hurts and harms, I don't say that. That's not something I say, but that's what's coming up. So the phrase hurts and harms. What's going on in your life in terms of how you feel. And then we have the 6 of Wands. Okay, so in the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot deck, this figure is going through town, and there's people sort of like acknowledging him passing by, and there's this almost sense of like success or accomplishment, things along that line. With this is, I'm getting this, masculine energy, and there is an aspect of like, I'm hearing like anointing or appointed. So there's something very like, it's weird though, because I'm getting like shallow breaths, so it's hard for me to take a breath, but like the feeling I'm getting is like, being chosen, being one of the select few. Okay. So this is sort of smacking a little bit of like, perspective shift. Like, who is this person to you? And are you placing way too much, like, is this guy or girl sitting on a pedestal in your world? Now, anointed also means like being part of what, God's children, like, Jesus, Christianity, things like that line. That could resonate for some of you out there. But there is this definite like anointed one or anointing. So this person is there's a power dynamic that I'm picking up on in that way. So you're sort of being reminded, like, are you focusing on what you bring to the table? Are you focusing on how you come across, which is positive? And if you're forgetting that, you're being reminded to not forget that. And then we have the Knight of Wands. So what am I seeing here? For the most part, we have fire, air, water, earth. Okay, so mainly fire, with the High Priestess being the major arcana. And the Knight of Wands, this one, I find this Knight of Wands really fascinating because, you sort of get the sense with knights, the knights all have different speeds that they're operating on. And I'm apt to say that, the wands and the swords are the fastest out of the 4. But in this particular deck, this wand knight does not look fast whatsoever, but looks highly prepared. Carl is a name I'm getting. Sylvia is a name I'm getting. Manuel is a name I'm getting. Julia is a name I'm getting. Thank you. Martina is another name that I'm getting. I almost said Fabio, but I hear fabuloso, so someone may think you're fabulous. Gracias, mi amiga. If you are speaking Espanol, I hablo Espanol poquito. That's about it. Sorry, guys. So those names are coming up if that resonates with you. Someone here is an artist, or they're into silk screening or something along that line. Feel now we're really cooking here. I don't know what happened. It's like as soon as we acknowledged some sort of idea about being prepared, something in the summertime, which is coming up. This could be a potential relationship if you're not in one and you're looking for one. Queen of Wands again. Well, if that's not a good confirmation, because she popped out earlier here. So Queen of Wands, what is she trying to say? Oh, that's nice. Look at how we're changing that energy. We went from that sad little Sally there, and she's looking a lot better. Would you agree? So how did we get here? Oh, she remembers her crown. Now look at her crown. Actually, look how big her crown is compared to this one. Just acknowledging a little bit about who you are and whose you are. And remembering who you are. And I get sort of this idea of like, okay, so the song, oh God, what is it? I'll take you to the candy shop. Like, that's really like early 2000s, I think. Something about candy shop or a lollipop. Oh, what's that other song? Lollipop. Not lollipop, lollipop. Maybe lollipop, lollipop, actually, since it came up. There's another one, and it's really, how many licks does it take to get to the center of the okay, so maybe you're one of my people. You are perhaps a peer of some sort. That, I don't know, that those songs are coming up, almost like that's the communication. Maybe there is an individual who's going to send you a song like that, like a, hey, you remember this? You remember when? Like there's a vibe like that almost coming up. I get the sense that someone might be actually who works in radio, or is into podcasting, or what? Enlightening. Podcasting, enlightening, sharing, enlightening, jamming. So maybe you're in music and you do, you work with other musicians, you go to like, jam nights or things like that. People still do that, right? I think they do. So there might be a connection there. I feel like this came up in another reading before. So you might be a returning viewer, which I think is wonderful. So thank you so much. Yep. Keep changing my setup every time, a little different every time. Just try to see what works. If you are here though, and you're one of my first subscribers, I really do appreciate you being here, because this is really fascinating to be able to watch a channel grow from beginning to like God knows where it will head. So it's kind of fascinating. Okay, so this is my little Hierophant that finally like got sort of bent and tried flying out. Also flew out earlier, tricky little Hierophant. So I'm going to see how this connects here. I'm hearing a Julia or Julia or Julio. Buenos dias. ¿Cómo estás? Bienvenido. Okay, so lots of welcoming messages in Spanish. So there's a connection there. I don't know where you're from. You might be from Mexico or Latin country of some sort, but this is coming up big time. Okay. This is for you. This message is for you. Okay, I hear Miley Cyrus's I could buy myself flowers, but instead the lines changed and it was like, you don't ever buy flowers. So I think you're being reminded that if you do have a special someone in your life right now, that doing those little gestures, buying someone a gift, such as flowers, doesn't even have to be expensive. It could be, something you pick, wildflowers along the side of the road or something like that. It's a very romantic gesture. Romantic gestures do not have to be expensive. This is something I keep trying to get through to the people in my circles. These are not necessary. It is the thought that goes behind it. But keeping in mind, like for some people, gift giving is a big thing, okay? Yeah, that's someone's love language for sure. But for others, gift giving is way bottom of the list, and it might be quality time or, touch or what else is there? Acts of service, doing someone's dishes for them. Doesn't seem romantic, but if you're an acts of service person, that's a very nice way to show someone you love them. If they understand that. Just clearing a little bit here. Okay. So there's a sense of needing to clear, which is interesting. So I'm sort of getting the feeling like there might be like you're feeling exposed perhaps, and maybe because I exposed you, and I apologize if that resonated with you and you're struggling a little bit with how that might feel. That is something worth exploring. I do hear like you are my world. So there might be like, there's an obstacle in this particular relationship, what I'm talking about, if this resonates with you. So I feel like I'm speaking to a masculine who is trying to recover a feminine in his life. And this might have been a marriage or a long-term relationship, and it's hit a couple of bumps in the road. And there seems to be an obstacle, but the obstacle is actually quite small and far off and not as big as it might appear. However, action is being required with this. So there's an aspect of that. And I'm getting the sense that there might currently be like a no contact sort of situation. It's temporary, but it is. Now, I just felt like my hair getting caressed. So maybe, their love language might be touch, or something along that line. Could be quality time as well, or even just being told that they look nice. You know, the words of affirmation. That's the other one I forgot. Okay, so I'm going to pick this up in part 3, I think, because I'm getting close to the time here of what I wanted to do. So I will do part 3, and tune in for more. Love you.